Okay, so we are now going to embark on building our UCI, which is going to be a fun thing to do. Now, you'll notice that the design has had a couple of things added to it in the meantime. I shouldn't have days away from this because I play and I meddle around with it. But the thing with all these changes is they're things that you can do yourselves because you've already understood how to do all of these changes. So I'll get you to just have a look at this and catch up as much as you can to where I've taken the design. A couple of things to note: I've added over here, for example, in the snapshot control, I've actually pulled the presets out onto the design space as well. I've put a console indicator on as well. But that's so I can change these states in the design if I need to. You'll notice there's a couple of other things over here. And I've got the speaker initializing not just the LED, but the actual status text as well next to every speaker, which helps. And down here in the custom controls, I've done a couple of things. Don't worry too much about them if you haven't got these already, because there's a couple of things that will go on with control. I have changed a couple of things to make the system work a bit better. In fact, we're going to end up here. I'll just show you my finished design here. If we get rid of that, we'll see that this is the finished design. It's a little more elegant than what we have, but there's a couple of extra things. There's some snapshots for these controls, so we can reset our monitors to 0. I've done some preset gain values as well with these. It's kind of what this is about for the delays and the infill and the sub. So there's some preset levels now on our UCI, which is going to end up looking a lot like this. Is that front page, which we're already, if you've been doing this in class with me, you'll see that we're already pretty much here with the front page. But there are a couple of things that we've added down here. And here's these preset levels. I've also got this infill delay set page that shows how to get the infills and the delays set in the system. And we can set delays. And by the way, I have solved the data entry for that really easily and really well. So that'll be a lot of fun to play with and to build. So, and look, we're going to get into a lot of stuff with building the UCI. It's everything you need to know about building UCIs properly in terms of using the components within Designer itself without getting into coding. That's a different can of worms. I haven't had to code anything to get this UCI to work perfectly. So that's really good. Anyway, we shall get away from this one because it's where we're going to end up. We're very close to start with, as you can see. There's a couple of areas we'll add, but we'll add them as we go through. Now, first off, I just want to show you something. I have uploaded to Canvas. I know a lot of you already know this. To Canvas, a bunch of image files you can use as backgrounds for your UCIs. And I'll show you where to find them. But we're having a bit of an issue where if you're doing your design on the My Desktop app, the Citrix workspace, it seems it doesn't like to import those those vision files and drop them onto the UCI. This is kind of partly why I suggested that we download our own copy of Designer onto our personal laptop so that we A, keep all the files that we're doing, but B, we can do things like add files to it. So if you go into your Canvas shell, as I'm demonstrating here, we want to go to modules. And I've added it into I think here, QSys peripherals on ramps and off ramps. Let's have a look at what I've got here. Here we go. Yeah, here are some image files to use with QSys Designer. So you can just grab these and download them onto your desktop or into a folder, and you can use these as backgrounds for UCI pages, and we can lock those images in. And there's some very useful little images. I've built my UCI just using this one and this one I've used this one as the background for the monitor graphics, and I've used this as the background for everything else. But there's plenty for you to choose from, and go nuts, like make it as awesome or unawesome as you would like it to be. But download them, put them in a folder, and you can use them. I've sized them and resolution them so that they are not taking up a bunch of processing power in QSys, but will still look okay. So here we go. We're going to start building our UCI, and the first thing that we need to do, obviously, is get our design elements up this page, and we go to user control interfaces, and we hit the plus. This is to create a new one. Once again, over in properties, I would like you to set this, please, to iPad, which is up here. I've just purchased an iPad for this course, so we have a dedicated iPad situation going on, which is very cool. And the other thing is the delay solution that I've come up with, the entry, it does require another license, but the license is free. So I've got that for our core, and I've got that for my system. So we're licensed to use all the bits that are on this. Anyway, so let's call this, to start with, main page. Right. Let's call main page. We're on layer 1. Now, in layer 1, I would like to, if possible, I'm just going to resize this page so I can move it away a little bit. It's not going to let me do it. Okay, so now I want to go into my background images. Which I have in, not there. Go to manage audio networks files and QSys BG image files. It's where I'll get this from. So here we go. So now I'm going to do a bit of that. And the first thing I do is grab my little black background that I've been using, number 17, and just drag it onto this and drop it. And that's really all you should need to have to do. So I'm going to put it up in the corner, and then I'm just going to stretch it out so it covers the screen. Try not to exceed the borders. It's very cool. Great. Now we've got that image. That's there. That's locked. I just want to lock that in. We don't want to have to deal with that. And the rest of that is you can grab the background and move it around when you're trying to move elements around on the front page. So what we're going to do instead is go back to full screen. Is add a layer. So add a layer. So we're now working in layer 2, which is great. This is what we want to have. We're going to do this for everything. We'll build the pages as we go. So let's just concentrate mainly on just getting some elements for the main page that we want. And I'm just going to move the legend over here. That's something we'll come back to later. And I want to start grabbing out the things that we're going to need for our main page. And of course, the main one we're going to need is this meter as a start. You can grab the text too if you would like. And we can just pick that up and drop it on our desktop, which is great. Let's make it a bit bigger. Now, if you've been in class with me, we've already done this. So that's fine. Now I'm just going to make it that big. I'm going to grab the 4 of these. Whoops. And move them this way so that they're the monitor section. Grab these guys and move them separate. So that's that's input 2 metering. Of course, this being left and right. Great. Now you'll notice that the text box has disappeared. That's a pretty easy fix. Just go to properties and We don't touch fill, but we do touch stroke color. Let's make that into something light. And we'll also go with text color, and we'll make that something light as well. Very great. Okay, cool. The text size is too small. Let's make it bigger, 14. Now we can see what's on there. Not so bold. Very good. We can move these around a little if we would like to. Fantastic. That's sort of starting to look, even just as we speak, a little bit like what we want. Okay, wonderful. Now let's get a couple of things that we need for these controls. And the first thing we're going to need, of course, are these mutes. So grab them. Again, drop them onto our interface. Make them a bit bigger. And we also want to, using our right click on our mouse when it works, is to stack them like so. Great. Now we can move these over to be here. Here. Oops, I don't get all of them. I don't. Let's do all of them. Okay, so you notice I'm waiting for those lines to line up when I do that. Now I'm going to select them all and make them all a little bit bigger. Okay, so we're starting to get there. What we can do now, of course, is just resize them individually. Okay, so now we have mutes and we have meters. This is a good start. So let's see how this works. So what we want to have now, of course, is the sub gain, actually, which is this person here. No, it's actually this person here. Copy that. Interface. I'm going to paste it. It's going to be here. And we want to turn that into a fader. Great. Just move it out a little bit so it's a bit fatter. Down a little. Okay, cool. Now, one of the things I like to do when we're doing faders is to actually put a group box around them so that we can see them. And of course, we want the stroke color to be something light that we can see. Okay, now we've got a nice fader looking-ish thing. That's not quite where we want it to be. Now we are, sort of. Now we are, very good. So now when I select all of this and move it, the fader and the box around it all move. So that's fabulous. Okay, so that's our sub level. Let's not bother with some naming. I'll get you to do that on your own time. I'll just pull the controls out so this doesn't take forever. We want this sub mute. We actually want that as well. So let's copy that. Bring it over here. Put it down the bottom. Paste. Sub mute. Let's make it bigger. Okay, let's make the text a different color so we can see it. We'll also make it a size that we can see, which is currently not the case. Let's sort of 14 with that, submute, there we go, beautiful. Okay, so that's the start. Let's do a stroke color of that same gray. So now we can see that. Okay, so now this whole thing can move down one if we want it to, a little bit. Cool, let's get the crossover happening. That's this selector here. So I'm going to copy these two. place them here. So these are our crossover points. Just make it a little bit bigger. Great. Move them apart a little bit. And one thing I've been doing with the indicators on this is to change the fill color to this kind of garish purple. It just shows up really well on the black, I think. Just make these a little bit bigger because I also want to put in some text. I want to make this into 120, because that's what it is. And I want to put this one into 90. Let's grab the indicator for that, which is here. Copy that as well. Sort of maybe don't really need to do this, but let's do it anyway because it's the kind of people we are. Make it a bit bigger. So it shows what the crossover is. It's not very big. Let's make it 14 as well. Cool. Now these aren't sitting in a nice arrangement, so once again I'm going to draw attention to doing that, which lines them up a bit nicely. That's nice. Okay, very good. Let's take a breather here, come back at the next video, and we will continue with our building. But you're starting to see how this is all going to begin to be easily put together.